Before we get started, does anyone want to get out?
Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of Comix-Watch. I am Nick, and Jared from ComicsLeague sadly couldn't be here today. So in his place, we have Jared, the creator of the new comic. Why don't you tell us about this comic?
All right. So, by the way, I am Jared from ComicsLeague.
Oh my god.
So the idea for this game was like 10 years in the making, because originally this was supposed to be a military novel. Now, the thing is, the story has been rewritten many times. So
As all good stories are.
As all good stories do, exactly. And it never really went anywhere. So one of the things I thought of when I got into comic books was I could turn this into a pretty kick-ass comic. And then as I was going through like the process, I realized there's way too much to get right with like the uniforms and like the way the things look. Just turn it into a superhero book. So my next question was, how do I turn this into a superhero book? So I decided I kept the general loose idea and turned it into Athena, Goddess of Thunder. Which
she sounds quite cracking.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah. She's very shocking.
Electrifying. It's even some might say.
So
all right.
What I have here, the first PowerPoint is going to be a brief summary, a brief teaser of the story. And by the way, awesome art by Dawson Riedrich. He's doing all the interior art and all the character designs. He's one of those dudes. We've seen all the same stuff. Like this, he's a very big Snyder fan. So it was to the point where I would say, okay, I want it to look like this. And then his design he would send back is like exactly what I wanted.
It's like you guys are just on the same wavelength.
Yes, exactly. Isn't that the best? Isn't that the best?
So, usually it is.
So, yeah, Athena, Goddess of Thunder. And then this is going to be volume 1, because this is part of a 3-volume story that I have outlined. And what's cool about it is that there's going to be other like mini projects in between, but there's 3 stories. Volume 1 is called Perceptions. I don't want to spoil why I call it that, because that's going to like play into like spoiler parts of the plot.
So if you spoil it, we might perceive it differently.
Yes, I don't want to be a real Stephanie Brown. So there you go. So the overall idea is Princess Lyra of the planet Centrigar. She's a warrior princess like Diana. She's been trained by birth to fight. And she is like one of the best swords women in the kingdom ever. And the thing is, she's basically been like raised in an environment of privilege, because being the princess and everything of the ruling family of this planet. However, the planet is invaded by Xerxes, who's known throughout the galaxy as this conqueror. You don't stop. In other words, he's unstoppable.
Is he a user of the old ways?
You could say that, because you'll see some similarities, because a lot of this, and I'll get into it later, is based on my absolute love for comics, DC, and like Greek myth. Like when I get into the characters' names, you'll see why I love Greek myth.
I mean, the thing is, almost all the DC characters, if are based off of Greek myth anyway, so you're just going back to the source.
Yeah, and that's really what drew me to DC as opposed to Marvel. Because, yeah, Marvel has, like, gods and some Greek myth characters. But DC, like, the Justice League is basically the Pantheon. And they're on and they basically, the Watchtower is basically Olympus. So I'm like, okay, there you go. So anyway, So the idea is that she also has abilities. I call superhumans the empowered.
Okay.
It's the way of not saying metahumans because everyone uses that term.
Metahuman. Well, I think mutants is actually trademark. So
yeah, so I couldn't do that. I didn't want to use metahuman because again, it's too similar to DC. So I was like, just doing. Yeah. Originally, I had the powered ones, but that's too many words. So I was like, the empowered. It's simple. It flows off the tongue. Now, her power traditionally is that she can shoot lightning, and when she has swords, the lightning wraps around her blade.
So does she have
unlimited power? Now, on that, here's the thing: throughout the story, we're discovering she's more powerful than she thinks she is, and the way I wrote it is we discover more of her power as she discovers it.
That's good storytelling, honestly.
Yeah, because I figured it'd be way more fun, and it's way more like, I knew you were going to do that, so you triggered my trap card. I've been watching a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh! So it's like, I knew you were going to do that.
So she's a third-rate duelist with a fifth-rate deck?
Nice! There you go. There you go. So again, I want to emphasize Xerxes is unstoppable. So her mother sends her to a certain third planet in the solar system. And let's just say things are not as they appear to the Centrigarians, and it deals with a lot like superhuman powers. Okay, you know what? This isn't exactly a spoiler, so I'll go ahead and say it. As far as Centrigar knows, they're the only planet that has empowered ones. That's as far as they know, because again, they were very isolated as a kingdom planet. And I go into more in the actual book of like the way this society's actually broken down, hence which is why this is called Perceptions, because not everything is as it seems to Athena as well. So she lands, and so what happens is Xerxes sends a bounty hunter after her. The bounty hunter is actually a pretty key character that is all of volume 1 and maybe a little bit in volumes 2 and 3. I haven't decided yet, but really it's someone close to her. Let me put it to you that way. So he tracks her, and she's no good to him dead. So I had
You're no good to me dead.
No disintegrations. So she crash lands in the middle of a big city. She's under attack by the bodyguard, by the bounty hunter, and then the Pantheon arises. Which, by the way, there's one more character that we're working on the character design now. But so we have Atlas, who's basically he's super strong, flies, shoots heat vision. The thing about him is that he's more vulnerable than Superman. Like he's covered in scars, and he may or may not be. A lot of these guys got their powers in a similar way. I'm gonna tease it that way, and it links.
Sly dog.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. So Hermes is my speedster. As you can see, it's inspired by the Flash, but I want it to be more inspired by the Greek god Hermes. That's why he has a lot of those wings coming off.
I gotta say, hats off to Dawson. He took a lot of the Hermes one. He took a lot of like the classic superhero design cues, and you'd think there's no original ideas, but he somehow found a way to make something unique. So hats off to him.
And we were coming up with the idea for the color scheme. I said, obviously, I don't want to have red because it'd be very obvious who this was. So we thought, give him the Superman colors. So it's like a blue and red blur.
Yeah. He still has the red as an accent color. I think it works.
Yeah, exactly. And even with Atlas, we went white because it's more like Greek like hero. He even has like the little toga thing, and then gold is supposed to elicit a sort of royalty. In the way
I think you definitely nailed the kind of the Greco kind of inspiration.
Yeah, exactly. And his eyes like glow gold when he's using his powers and stuff. So then we have Hephaestus, which is basically my take on like Batman and Iron Man. He's basically their oracle. He's their support guy, but he can also like really pack a punch. So he's like one of the characters. He's not Bat-God. I do not do that. But he's very capable of standing with gods.
Because he's the GD Ephesus.
Yes. That's a good one. And then we have Achilles. And think of him like Wolverine because he can go into a berserker rage. And then in the book, Dawson and I have a plan where he gets blood splattered on him. So it's really badass.
I can't help but notice his heels are very well armored.
Yes, exactly. There you go. That works really well. So those are the four guys on the team. And a lot of these guys were based on characters from the original novel. A few of these I combined two characters into one because like I had two tech characters. But I wanted to keep this a little simple for when I'm writing so it's easier for me to manage the characters.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last character, Thalassa, I named her after the Greek goddess of the sea because she has like more aquakinesis powers. She is linked. I'm just going to say she and Athena's origins are linked. In a way that it has to do a lot with the society on Centrigar. I think people are going to really enjoy what I do with this because the way I basically wrote this is I wrote it with the idea that no one is 100% a saint. It's like, I have a Superman, but he's not like, this looks like a job for Superman. He's a little bit, I wrote these characters a lot more like the Snyderverse characters in that they make mistakes. They're a little darker, but they're heroes.
Human.
They're more human, exactly, because all these guys are humans that got powers a certain way. And then volume 2 is when I'm going to flesh out where the powers came from and everything like that. So that's where I'm leaving volume 2 because volume 1, I just wanted to introduce the world and get the story going. So she lands and then she's saved by the Pantheon. And then basically the idea is, hey, he's coming. Xerxes is eventually going to come to Earth. He's never fought us, not us united. So you know what? Why you obviously can handle yourself in a fight. Why don't you just join us? And
please tell me someone says he's never fought us.
That's later. That's a book 2 line. I originally had it in book 1, but I felt it'd be too on the nose in book 1.
So how, like, obviously you being an Uber fan, how many like classic moments did you put into volume 1?
Oh, I got a not impressed moment up the yin yang, dude. Oh my gosh. And basically, here's the thing. This book really homages a lot of really fun, like, homages to classic DC history. Like, I can't tell a lot of them because that would spoil the story. But like a lot, because this book is going to be one trade, but in 3 chapters. And each chapter will have its own cover. And then each cover is going to be based on, like, classic DC covers.
So, what can you give us a little bit of a preview of what some of the covers we can expect? But like
Justice League 12 of Superman and Wonder Woman kissing. There's going to be one that's like homaging a certain 90s event with Superman. That was a very doomsday time.
We're going to get some flag waving.
Yeah, kind of. It's in that general area. Then there's a few I actually homage certain covers in the book too, because I'm like, because I told Dawson it's kind of like this in the thing because I trust him to make it original enough. And plus he knows what I'm going for.
I just have one question. Will Atlas shrug?
In a way. I
know that's a bit of a loaded question, but sorry.
He gets a not impressed moment that I have to say I am very proud of.
As you should be. So what other moments are you quite proud of?
I'm quite proud of the time where Athena discovers her true power. It's in the last battle. It's one of those last battle, everything seems lost.
Fly, son. It's your time.
Yeah, kind of like that. And then Athena realizes what her true power is. And then, let me put it this way. It goes about as well for Xerxes as it did for Steppenwolf in the Snyder Cut.
Like, as a fellow comic book creator myself, I will say there's always, like, these moments when, like, you're writing a story where, like, the story kind of leads up to, like, this one moment where like it's like you're so excited to write it. Without giving too much away, what was that one moment for you?
It was the not impressed moment, because here's the thing. That moment's like my favorite moment of the Snyder Cut. I'm a massive Superman fan. And I was like, if I'm going to homage this moment, I got to do it right. I was saving, because there were so many areas where I tried to put it in, but I thought it's not right here, because that's a moment you have to save for the right moment. Because that's like the creme de la creme. Oh, because that's also because it pulls double duty. It indicates what Athena's real power is, and it's got a badass Atlas moment. And it's one of those things where it's kind of walking a tightrope that I don't want to seem like I'm ripping off Zach, but I want to make it seem like I'm honoring him.
Mm-hmm.
And then so she joins the Pantheon, and then she gets a new uniform, because when she's on the planet, when she's on Centrigar, this is her royal garb.
Okay.
By the way, that's based on a Wonder Woman cover. So I'll show it off in a second. But so what I did, obviously her combat armor is based design on Wonder Woman. So we kind of played around with the colors, and we got this.
I like it. You see, you keep the purple, you got the yellow. It's almost kind of like an inverse of her old outfit.
Yeah, we wanted to keep it because gold and purple are like royal colors, and she is a princess. And the way I do it is like each superhero designs their own costume.
And what I mean by that is like purple was kind of the primary color of the previous one. With like the yellow accent.
Yeah.
And now this one, it's kind of the reverse, where it's like yellow is the primary color and purple is more the accent color.
And if you notice, we also kept the collar from her dress.
Yeah.
And so this like fish netting on the arms, that was by accident, because Dawson's like, I have no idea what came over with that. And I was like, that is awesome.
Honestly, it's a nice little touch. It's completely unnecessary. But it kind of adds to the outfit, because like it does kind of break up the arm. Like, it makes it a little more visually interesting.
And the other thing is that homage is my other favorite female DC character, Black Canary. So there you go. Also, if you notice, because we took a lot of inspiration from like Roman armor, she also has that chest plate that has like the abs in there, because she is a warrior. And then she has her two swords on her back. And she's primarily like, she's my character that if you need something chopped up, that's who you send.
If you need intergalactic planet harvester's head chopped off before delivering it to Hephaestus.
Yeah, exactly. What? I don't want to spoil the story. So, but the other thing that we also did, we put a little strand of hair coming out of her crown, because we thought it gave her a little more attitude.
Yeah, I'm definitely getting the twos from that. It looks really nice, honestly.
Yeah. So those are like some of the character designs I have, but I also have another PowerPoint that I had prepared, which is basically like more on like the characters of the book and like their individual like powers and such. So let's see it. Pull that up. In the meantime, do you have any questions you want to ask or anything else?
Which character was the most difficult to write?
Probably, honestly, Athena, because here's the thing. I wanted her to, because she has these moments where like she's a princess coming from a world where she was served. Now she's serving others as a superhero. So I try to write that like that like dynamic without making her sound like Rey from Star Wars. I didn't want her to sound like she's smarter than everyone else. So in other words, I didn't want to sound like that. What?
You wanted to avoid making her Mary Sue, basically.
Yeah, because I want this book to do well. So that's the thing. I don't want to do Disney my Star Wars, if you catch my drift.
Well, Jared, I only got one thing to say to that.
Nice.
Thank you. So here's a little more in the Pantheons. I put this together before we like had like character designs in terms of colors. I have Atlas. So he's the team leader, super strength, enhanced speed, fight, limited invulnerability. Limited. I want to emphasize that he's not like Superman, and he's not going to be carrying a planet on a solar system.
He's not going to be punching reality.
And then he becomes he and Athena are basically become together, and that's my homage to Superman, Wonder Woman. The reason why I did it, the way that they work is that he teaches her essentially like the life of a superhero, and then she sees him, this god that has all these powers, but he still serves other people, and he's so humble.
I got a question.
Yeah.
When you actually get that homage cover onto a comic, are you going to try and get Jim Lee to sign it?
I will, and say this is very emphasized. By the way, so their kiss, I put a little Superman, Wonder Woman, obviously, but also a little Hush. Let me put it this way: you'll see some Batcat moments in this too.
Meow.
So for Achilles, he's more my bruiser. He's the dude that you go into to like really like pound something to rubble. And he's like the sparring partner for Athena because they both had like a similar like weapon set, in other words.
Now, all jokes aside, are you planning on having like doing like the Achilles heel kind of thing, or is that just kind of out the window?
I maybe in like a later book. In volume 1, no.
Okay, just curious.
Yeah, and so volume 1 has been completed in terms of writing. I'm doing the edits right now, and then we'll actually start the art. So I'm really excited for that. So Hephaestus is the tech expert. He has more technology-based powers, like power armor. And what's kind of cool is I put a little representation there. He's an African American because I figured an African American that's like really good with tech and like technology.
I gotta be honest with you, his armor strikes me more Wolverine than Batman.
A little bit. We put a little bit in there too. Which, well, again, we didn't want like we didn't want it to look like the Hellbat suit or something like that. So
yeah, that's fair.
It's the general idea, but yeah. So he's my African American dude, and he's actually really cool because because he's the guy they always go to for like. I made him like the smartest guy on the team.
Oh, nice.
So there you go. And then Xerxes. He's obviously my dark side and analogy. He takes the team.
Is he inevitable?
Yeah, he is inevitable. And the thing about him
is that we got Twitter.
The thing about him is that so he shows up in all 3 volumes of the book. So he's the overall villain. They will meet other characters, like you're going to love Athena's sister. This is a character that I'm looking very much forward to writing.
Will she basically be quite the Blackfire?
Maybe actually. The thing about Blackfire's character, maybe. But see, the way what this book is designed to do is that obviously I'm a hardcore DC fan, and this is like my tribute to it, and to be able to see, hey, this is some of the stuff that I absolutely love, and plus with DC not doing a Justice League book for the foreseeable future, looks like I'm like, here's a it's based on the Justice League, but here's like something to do,
right? So, going forward, what are some storylines that you have planned? Like any like hints you want to give to what may come?
Well, there's gonna be a lot more Atlas and Athena like bonding together, and because they're obviously by the end of the book, by like the middle of the book is when they get together. I'm just gonna tell that right now.
So, will Atlas be taking Athena to like a diner?
That's a good idea.
I love it when I say something and your head tilts. Like, I could, I love it.
I have some homages, but yes, that's a great idea. And in terms of other storylines, there's going to be more into each of the characters, like origins. Like I'm going to tell you, book 2, in between volumes 1 and 2, I want to do like an anthology book that will basically be like all my comic book friends come together. And we each write an origin for these characters. I'll take Atlas. Maybe you can take like Hephaestus.
I'll take Hephaestus. Yeah.
Yeah. It's so that way it's a community project. We can like have some fun with it and give these characters kick-ass origin stories.
Yeah, and speaking of the spirit of collaboration, if you could have your characters cross over with any other characters, who would it be?
Wonder Woman. I
I
would have
mean,
Atlas go to Superman. Why are you with Lois Lane?
quite the loser lane,
It,
really.
it would be like in Arrested Development whenever Anne shows up and everyone's like, her?
All right, what other characters would you like to see them cross over with?
There's this little known, very, very dweeby character named Screecher that I think could be fun.
Screecher? I hear that comic sucks though.
Yeah, I know. It's definitely not a kick-ass homage to Batman.
Yeah. Speaking of kick-ass though, if you have made it this far, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps out. We appreciate you guys.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing about this book is that, see, the problem I ran into with this is, and I'm working on that, is I'm trying to make sure the book is paced well. And that's a thing that like I'm really focusing on this editing. I mean, I'm seeing stuff going through the early parts right now where I'm like, yeah, I could do this a little better, tweak stuff, but really a lot of stuff I struggled with this is like I put it off for a while because I was like, is this going to be good enough? And I'm sure any first time comic book writer is like, is this going to be good? If I put it out, will people like it?
Yeah, pretty much. So what's your timetable for this? Like, when are you planning on releasing this?
Currently, right now, I'm planning on like starting the art in like the summer, and in terms of like releasing it based upon the payment plan I get into with Dawson, we'll see. I don't really have like a firm date right now.
And currently, are you planning on like doing like a crowdfunding campaign for it? Like
Yeah, exactly. I'll probably go with Indiegogo for that one.
All right. And so we're kind of we got about a few more minutes for our time is up here. So is there anything else you want to say to any prospective people? Because we're just doing like a preview of your book. We're not actually, it's just letting people more know about it. Like, what do you want people to know about it right now?
If you like the more classic portrayal of superheroes, there's no preaching to you. I made it very clear. There's no preaching. Every character has a moment. In fact, that was one of the tough parts of the book. I wanted to make sure every character got to do something cool. Because in a team book, that's like 85 pages. It's tough because you got to think of like, do I want to like expand? Do I want to make the book longer than it has to be to give everyone like their moment? So I made sure every character gets like one badass moment. And I want to emphasize that it's not woke. I really have to emphasize that. Even though it has a female character as a protagonist, she learned specifically from Atlas.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's something that we all kind of need to do. It's like so many people, it's like they see, oh, female protagonist, oh, it's woke, oh, it's all this or that, and it's like, no, just because you have a female protagonist does not mean it's this, that, and the other thing. I don't know. A lot of people.
I'll tell you right now. I have moments where she legit tells Atlas, "I need you."
Yeah. So what were some of your other priorities when writing this book? Like you talked about like giving people their time in the sun, or some other things that were really important to you.
Picking fun moments from DC's history that I can homage, because it's DC's my first love. So I'm like, I really want to make sure that like that like these moments are ones that people would recognize. And it even, I plan in the back of the book having like a little glossary of like all the references, all the behind the scenes artwork. So you'll get like a lot of cool stuff in this.
And then were there any moments that you wanted to include but you couldn't for whatever reason?
I wanted to include like more of the team like doing like actual like superhero stuff, but with the pacing of the book, I have like one epic like a team like a battle sequence. And what I do with the team, it's actually really cool. For the dialogue of the team when they're communicating on a mission, I make them sound like they're like an actual Black Ops like commando unit.
Bravo 6 going dark.
Yeah, exactly. If you ever seen like, if you ever like seen like Lone Survivor or anything like that, I've kind of taken like their like contact left. We have a tango coming on the staircase, kind of like that.
All right. So, any last words for people before we go off?
If you guys like some kick-ass superhero action that's not woke and that actually holds up superheroes, please consider Athena when she goes live.
All right. Thank you, Jared from Athena-Power Princess. Jared from ComicsLeague will be back next week. I don't know what happened to him, but he seemed to have disappeared and replaced with you. So thank you everyone for joining us. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And remember, I can only show you the door. Give us a walk through it.